So today we are finishing our series, our pandemic series on money. There are a lot of high stressors in life, really all the time. But during a global pandemic, these three conversations that we've been having are some of the most worrisome, high stress relationships that we have, particularly that of money, of marriage, and of parenting. And so we're in part 3 today of our money series, and then next week we're going to begin a conversation on marriage, and then we're going to end the series with a conversation on parenting in about 3 or 4 weeks from now. But today you are in for such a treat, such an encouraging treat. We're going to listen in for the next 20 minutes to two couples' financial stories. These people were living, for the most part, paycheck to paycheck, trying just to survive, keep their head out of water, before they began to take their financial system seriously and to take care and to take control of their money, to really learn and to believe and to start living out of the fact that they are managers of God's resources, that they are not owners of it. And it has been life-changing for each of these couples. I'm so excited for you to listen in to these conversations, to these testimonies. If you're in a place in life right now where you are just wondering how you're going to survive, you're wondering why there's so much stress when it comes to money, why there is no financial peace, then my friends, you need to heed the advice and the warnings that these two couples are going to share with you. So it is my pleasure to introduce you to Josh and Ann Ritter and Eric and Courtney Nelson. Here you go. Be blessed.
Hey guys, I'm Josh.
And I'm Ann.
We're excited to share a little bit about our journey with money as a couple with you.
So in the beginning of our marriage, or really the first 2/3 of our marriage,
7 out of 10 years,
we struggled to manage our money well. We got married young and had a lot of student debt and had some credit card debt, some car debt, and as time went on, we just became increasingly frustrated that we had these big debt payments every month and we were just struggling to make it every month, and we felt like we were working and, making okay money, and we were like, why is this continuing to be a problem? We can't do the things our friends are doing. It feels like we're having a hard time getting ahead or moving forward in life. So around the time that we had our second son, Leo, we kind of hit our breaking point where my maternity leave was very budgeted out to the penny. We were that tight. We had a major home repair that we couldn't afford, so we had to have taken out another loan to cover that. And that's when we kind of reached we're sick and tired of being sick and tired moment.
Yeah, and up until that point, we had a budget on paper, but it's not something that we would follow. We would kind of point to and be like, look, we should have enough money for this or for that. But if you don't stick to a budget, it doesn't work. Right. Which is something that we found out when you do stick to it, it does work. When we started FPU and started actually following the principles that are laid out in that program. So a lot of things changed when we started following that. What are some of the things that stick out to you?
Yeah, so we took it, right as near my end of my pregnancy with Leo. So we weren't able to start the principles right away because I wasn't working. But once I went back to work, we attacked it. So we were budgeting every month, and we were doing it together. We were checking it together every week, I think. Yeah. We were starting to attack baby steps 1 and 2. So baby step 1 is, you have your emergency fund of $1,000.
A baby emergency fund.
Yes, to be bigger later on. And then step 2 is paying off your debt, smallest to largest, using the debt snowball method. So we were attacking debts together, and we have a coloring chart every month where we color in what we were paying off, and we got to see the momentum build and feel like we were actually making progress.
Yeah, it felt so good.
It felt so good.
Actually knock some things out. And even to have that $1,000, it's not enough for an emergency fund, but there were a lot of times where we didn't even have that much saved. So a lot of people can probably relate to that. So just to have that $1,000 as just a backup little thing if we needed to was just a huge peace of mind as we began our journey in paying off debt. So
And it was cool. We really felt like God was honoring our determination and hard work. We have not used a credit card or added to our credit card debt since starting. We were always able to cover emergencies with that emergency fund, and then we would just replenish it the next month.
Right.
And we've made some crazy progress in the past 2 years, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I have the grand total here, actually. We've paid off $63,557.73 in the past 23 months. So it works, you guys.
Yeah. And we have been working harder than we have worked before, too, it feels like,
true.
which goes along with it, because you want to work hard to get out of debt so that you can be done with this process. So it's not easy. It takes some time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of communication.
Yes, it does.
Which is something that we've learned has really grown, is our communication with each other, because we're talking every week about money in a good way, which before was just more stressful when we talk about money. So that alone is worth going to FPUs to learn how to communicate well about money with your spouse or the people that you live with.
I definitely think we would both say our marriage has gotten stronger since doing this.
Yep.
We're attacking goals together and dreaming bigger together.
Yeah.
I know that, what it feels like now is we're not done paying off debt yet. We still have a small chunk to go. But we know we can do this, and we can kind of plan accordingly. Because we paid off so much debt, we have so much more wiggle room in our budget every single month, that it's allowed us to really dream bigger dreams, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, and I also just want to say that it's not glamorous. There's nothing glamorous about paying off debt.
There's no magic tricks about it.
It's hard work.
It's hard work.
I had 2 jobs working at 2 hospitals, as a lot of you know, for over a year, I believe, and that was super hard, but we paid off a ton of debt in that amount of time. We sold stuff. We got rid of our newer car and got an older car, so we're driving old cars, but we have the titles to them.
Finding different ways in our budget to cut back.
Yeah.
We do that almost monthly.
Yep. Yeah, we're
still doing it.
Yeah, and it's helped us also make good decisions, like find good life insurance policies and always look at our insurance policies that we have. So I think we're just more aware of everything in our household, in our budget, in our long-term planning, things like that. And because we've had so much debt paid off, it's actually allowed us to cash flow our adoption, which a lot of you know we're adopting or started the process of adopting from India. There's no way we could have done this if we had not paid off all that debt. So that alone has been one of the hugest and coolest, I think, pieces of this for us, is working towards that really big goal and really being able to pay for most of it. So that's been pretty exciting for us.
Yeah, and that gets back to just the whole perspective change on money over this past few years that we've been just working on this, is that we really are seeing money as something that God has given us to manage now, and not just something that we earn and we get to decide, what we want to do with it. So this adoption is one way, and just thinking about future opportunities to be generous to help people in really cool ways is something that inspires us a lot. So yeah, that's a big part of why we do what we do with our money, and we'd love for you to learn more about it and join us when we do FPU as a church together, and or just talk to Ann and myself anytime. We're in the middle of it, and we are passionate about it. So if you have any questions or anything like that, we're here.
Yep. I've become the budget nerd in our house. I do it every week. So I would love to help anybody with the budget. I feel like that's something I've gotten a lot better at, and that Every Dollar app is super awesome and helpful. So just a props to that too.
Yeah. Well, you can tell we could go on and on about it, but we'll spare you. But thanks for listening, and we hope you join us for FPU, or just a conversation about money and how to manage it. So thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Eric.
And we are here to talk a little bit about a very sensitive subject, the subject of money. It is a subject that I think we talk very openly about because of the journey that we have been on. And so we're really excited to share a little bit about our story with you and our experience and our education around managing God's money and what that means and what that looks like and the plan. And then where we're at today and where we hope to be in the future. So, just to set a little background, money was a really tough subject for Eric and I. There was never enough, right?
Never enough.
Never enough.
No.
And when we got married, we both came into the marriage with debt. Mine was more of a consumer debt, and Eric, yours was consumer but mostly student loans,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely mostly student loans.
So we walked into marriage in debt, and that was the normal, right? Like everybody has debt. It was no big deal. But as we, grew in our marriage, and we had children, and we moved, and we bought our first house, money was always tight, and it seemed to me like no matter what we did, we were always behind. And a couple of years ago, I was tired of working so hard and feeling like we were broke. Honestly, it didn't matter how hard we were working or how many hours we were putting in. I just felt like we were always broke. We could never do anything. We were putting everything on credit cards, ranging from vacations to like the daycare bill, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, everything went on a credit card.
Everything was going on a credit card because that's how we were living. And we got to a point, we were in the bedroom where we were arguing about money, right?
Which we did a lot more often back then.
We argued a lot about money. There wasn't enough, who's not doing this, who's spending that, and it was really, really putting a strain on our marriage. We weren't getting along, we were not working together, we weren't on the same page. So it was really tough. And my best friend Benaki had shared with me this book that she had read from this guy, Dave Ramsey. I had never heard of him, and I was like, I am not reading a book on finance. Like, I'm not a finance, but Eric is a finance guy.
Yeah.
So he definitely knew a lot about finance, but I was the complete other end. I said, I don't finance. Who wants to read a book about finance? And Benaki just kept saying, you need to read the book, you need to read the book. So I ended up reading this book by Dave Ramsey, and it just made sense. It was these different steps that you need to do to get out of debt and really manage your money and get to a point where you can live and give like no one else. And then Eric read the book, and he's like, yeah, this makes sense. And I'm like, wow, we should really do this. Because we were, how much in debt were we?
$55,000 or so.
$55,000.
Not including the mortgage.
Not including the mortgage. And really struggling. So we had started on our own doing it, but it was only a couple months later that church offered Financial Peace University. Joel, our dear friend Joel, was going to teach it. And so Eric and I decided we were going to take the class, Financial Peace, to really understand what we were doing or what we were supposed to do. And it opened my eyes. It was absolutely life-changing. And I know that people say that all the time, but it really, really was. I was learning so much, and I was learning how God really had a plan. Like, we didn't have to figure this out. It's there, how to manage your money. It's in the Bible. It's very clear. It's very clear how God feels about debt and giving. And so a lot of it, though, Eric, wouldn't you say you knew a lot of what he was saying? Like, you got it?
Oh, yeah, I got it all right away. I mean, I have a background in finance, so I understood pretty much all the subject material.
Yeah. But we were learning about consumer debt and mortgages and the debt snowball and all these great concepts, and we were putting them into practice. And over the course of the 9 weeks, I just felt like my eyes were open, and we started to work together. Our arguing became a lot less, and we were still broke, right?
Oh, yeah.
We felt more broke because we were like doing nothing, but we felt like we were also progressing. And then one of the it was either the 8th or 9th class was really about how it was never ours, right? Like God, like the money that we earn isn't ours, and it's really God's money, and that's something that hit home with you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I never looked at it like that before at all. It was always my money or our money, had nothing to do with God whatsoever. It was just always my perspective was this is my money or our money, and this is the things that we're supposed to do with it. And if we don't do it 100%, that's okay. We'll get there eventually.
So, what did it feel like? Because one of the big things that came up was about tithing, and tithing is 10% of your income, and so that was something that was a little bit of a we already felt like we were broke, and now we're going to give 10% away.
Big time culture shock for me.
Yeah, but what happened when we did it?
Well, things got better.
Things got better, and so it wasn't as hard as we thought, and that was a big area of growth for you. But speeding up the story a little bit, we ended up in 2.5 years or so. We were able to pay down our debt minus the mortgage, and that included Eric's student loan. And it was on our anniversary, our wedding anniversary, actually. We made our last payment on that student loan, and we had champagne, and we said, kicked Sally Mae out the door.
That's right.
And that was a big win
All
for
gone.
us. And since then, it's been really great not to have that same stress of all that debt on us. And we went so far as we were going through the program, we started to teach FPU, and we were trying to help other people get on, see the same journey and the same progress we were, and that was such a great thing for us to see, right? To help other people, but it also helped us accountable as we were going through our own journey.
Absolutely.
So we are really in a much, much better space. We're not where we would like to be, but I will tell you that we were able to do things we never thought we could do. We went to Disney while getting out of debt. We cash flowed our Disney vacation.
That's right.
Which was amazing, and we have actually gone camping, and we've just cash flowed a lot of things. And what now it has helped us to do is really be better prepared to be able to make decisions that we weren't going to be able to do. So for us, considering the pandemic now, we are really trying to evaluate how we're going to manage virtual school, both of us working, the stressors of that. And because we're not in debt, we have a lot more flexibility than we would have originally. So our journey is definitely still going. We are still working those baby steps.
Yes, we are not perfect.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination.
We are not. And we've made some decisions that for us we've that work best for our family. But we are continuing in the program. So we are continuing to dream and cash flow as much as we can, and also know that the bigger plan is way beyond us, and God has a purpose for our money, and it's not just for us.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think that if we could say one last thing, I would just say that wherever you are in your financial journey, with your marriage, with your relationship, it is so worth making an investment to learn more about your relationship with money. And so when I say investment, I don't mean a monetary investment, although that's part of it, but I mean really learning the whole vision and the whole plan that God has for us, and then how you can really work God's plan. And so Financial Peace University is a huge part of our story. It's something that we are really excited about, and we are recommitting ourselves to, especially as we make some tough decisions about how we manage our family with our kids' responsibilities and all that. So we are super excited. We will be part of Financial Peace this fall again, and so we would love to be on the journey with all of you, whether you're in debt, out of debt, you're retired, and just looking to learn more about God's plan. So thanks so much. Would love to talk with any of you that have questions or want some more details. All right, say bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Josh and Ann and Eric and Courtney, thank you so much for sharing your story. Friends, if you want a story like theirs, then let us know that you're interested in joining an FPU, a Financial Peace University cohort this fall. We're going to be offering, we're still working on some of the details, whether it's going to be hybrid or in person or online, but we're going to be offering Financial Peace University this fall. Their story does not have to be unique. It can be your story too. If financial peace is something you are struggling with and you need to take control of your money, you need to start understanding that you are a manager, not an owner of the resources God has entrusted to you, and to really have some practical and some concrete systems in place and some accountability to help you with that. Financial Peace University is a phenomenal place to start. It has changed countless lives. And so I would really encourage you to do that. Let us know by following this link and letting us know that you're interested in joining an FPU cohort this fall. God bless you all. We hope to see you next week as we start a conversation on marriage. See you then.